So the truck's closing in on 150,000 miles now, and for the most part it's running great actually, but one thing I have noticed recently is there's quite a bit of free play, or for a better word, a dead zone in the steering wheel. So in this video we're going to adjust the steering box, tighten it up a bit and take out some of that play. Okay, the main symptom of a steering box that needs tightening is a dead zone in the steering wheel, which will be most noticeable when the front wheels are in the straightforward position. Now, I'm going to start off with a big disclaimer here. This could be down to a lot of different things. Worn tie rods, pitman arms, basically any link, joint or bush in your steering assembly. So don't immediately jump to the conclusion that your steering box needs adjusting, but if you've been through everything and it all checks out good, then there's a good chance this adjustment will help you out. Okay, so like I said, a loose steering box will not transfer your input to the steering wheel directly to the front wheels. Now this is usually due to wear to the gears inside the box itself, which does happen over time. So an easy way to diagnose this is to see how far you can turn the steering wheel before the front wheels start to move. So let's check that out. So as you can see, we're getting a side-to-side motion of about 40 millimeters either side of center, so 80 millimeters total free play. A small amount of play is normal here. In fact, I think an MOT will tolerate up to 75 millimeters free play for non-rack and pinion vehicles, but at 80 millimeters, this is a little on the sloppy side and could do with an adjustment. So how you access the steering box will differ from vehicle to vehicle. Some will be straightforward, some won't. Pray yours is the former. This 2005 Ford Ranger thankfully isn't too bad because the steering box is underneath the battery here. So what I need to do is disconnect the battery, lift that out, remove the battery tray. I might need to remove some brackets as well, but then we should be getting somewhere. So I'll crack on with that and I'll catch up with you guys in a minute. So with all that out of the way, now I have access to the adjustment screw on the top of the steering box. So this is a fairly typical setup with the adjustment screw in the middle. In this case, a flathead screwdriver is required to make an adjustment, and then a lock nut around the outside to hold it in place, 17mm in this case. But before I attempt to make any adjustment here, first off, I'm going to clean everything up with a wire brush so we can actually see what we're doing here. Okay, everything looks a lot better now. I've also marked the current position of the adjustment screw with some Tipp-Ex just as a sort of baseline reference point so I don't lose track of where I started from. So now I can crack the lock nut loose. So I'm going to try and get a 17mm spanner on this. If I can't, I might have to get a socket on it. I'll just slacken that off a bit more, making sure the adjustment screw isn't turning with it. There we go. Okay, with that done, I can now turn the adjustment screw clockwise to take out some of the play in this steering box. Now this is a really sensitive adjustment, so go small. I recommend 1/8 of a turn at a time, but as this is pretty loose, I'm actually going to start with 1/4 and then see where we're at. There we go. So I'll nip up the lock nut now and then check what the steering feels like. Okay, so let's see where we're at. Wow. Okay, so even a relatively small adjustment like that has made a massive difference here at the steering wheel, and I've more than halved the Freeplay I had before. I mean, it's tough for you guys to see because you can't see the front wheels, but I reckon I've got 30mm total Freeplay now, and to be honest, that's about right. You don't want to go too tight here because you can cause premature wear to the gears inside the box itself, and if you go really tight, you can even cause the steering to bind up when you're turning lock to lock. So take it for a test drive. If you feel any binding at all, stop and back that adjustment off a little bit. But with that said, I'm really happy with that. I think I'm going to leave it there and put everything back together. Done. Let's take it for a test drive. Well, what a difference this has made. Honestly, it feels like a new truck again. The steering is that much more responsive now. I mean, previously, you know, an input like that would have had no effect on the direction of the vehicle, but now it does. Brilliant. I'm just going to spin it round, check for no binding as we go lock to lock. To the right, nothing, back the other way, no binding at all. Brilliant. I'm calling that a win, and the best thing about this modification, it did not cost a penny. You cannot grumble at that. So thanks as always guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing if you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing here. Cool, I'll see you for the next video.